Ava and I are just sitting out here watching the horses train and getting a good look at some horses train. It's a cold day, my God. +1. Are you kidding me? It's almost May. It was supposed to be a nice day today. The biggest problem was I was going to be in Ohio, so that's why we droned on Wednesday. It was cold on Wednesday, too. My God, this is brutal. +1 right now in my car, and it's 11 o'clock. So you can just imagine how cold it was at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're going to run through the burns real quick for you. I'm going to have a little bit different this week. There's not a whole lot to talk about in the baby side. I'm going to talk about all the babies today rather than giving a list or anything else because they trained. You know, they did what they're supposed to. Today was a Wednesday. Today was a slow day. So there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. So let's start with the burns. A little bit to talk about there. Jason's burn, Oso Pine. I know a lot of people were upset and frustrated that Oso Pine didn't make it in the final. Well, it's not my call. It was the race office's call. It was the race office's call who got in. And although I didn't necessarily agree with their picks, then I can say that there was some partisan politics going on. At the same time, it is what it is. So Jason and I had talked about training him on the Saturday. I was coming down today. I was going to take Oso Pine down. Yes, you can have those. Oso Pine down and train him on the Saturday before the races, but can't do that. So he may have put him in Tuesday, I guess, just to go around with him. I haven't... Go ahead, honey. I don't want that. I don't know what he's going to do. Oso Pine needs to go a good mile. Yeah, he's going to be short for his first sire stakes. But as I said to one of my partners on this horse, it's a long year. It's not the end of the world. And it's not perfect, obviously. Not a perfect situation. Certainly not what we planned. But plans always don't always go as you want them to, do they? So Oso Pine will either train hard, probably a mile and 57, or race lightly on Tuesday. See You in Tuscany's racing tonight, as Yes is also. Josh Sutton, I would assume, is going to get the drive on Yes to get the drive back. You're screening the track, honey. Oh. See You in Tuscany will likely be Kyle Ader again, I would assume. No reason not to be. Again, there were some clients who were concerned about See You in Tuscany being in, and why didn't we put him in a condition race? Because those are aged horses, right? Those are 6-year-olds. And yeah, they might only went to 54 last week. 54 in with 6-year-olds is not the same as 54 or 53 in with 3-year-olds. And all he has to do is hit the wood, follow a helmet, and finish up. If he gets money, bonus. If he doesn't, he gets a nice tight mile, and then we drop him into the Buckeye Series, and he is going into the Buckeye Series his first start. He will feel like it's quite a classification drop. So See You in Tuscany will be just fine. West 52nd, I thought he was also eligible. I thought the little bracket 10 with a bracket was also eligible. That's a trailing post. That's a 10-hole, which is fine. No problem with that horse. He can trail. I assume Josh Sutton's going to drive him. He's been pretty push-button. Race him off the pace, race him on the front, do as you wish. I don't suspect there'll be any trouble with West 52nd on Sunday. Now we have our Vica coming into a 2-race win streak. Jason's going to come back for a couple of days this week. That's the only reason I haven't moved these horses around. They will be moved soon enough when some horses go to the sale and some horses leave the burn. There will be some horses moved around. For now, our Vic is fine. Bay Jewel's headed to the sale. She's going to race next Thursday at Flamborough. She's got 1, maybe 2 starts to prove her worth at the burn, but being present in a maiden on a B track at Flamborough and Grand River in London is just not going to cut it. And a bit of a heartbreaker for me, especially since I own a lot of this filly, but she'll make a good racehorse for somebody, I would imagine. Dance Hall Babe got cast in her stall last week, and a little bruising in her stifle. We had her looked at, nothing major. She's under control now. We'll probably train her a slow mile on Monday or Tuesday and school her on Thursday. She has stake races coming up, but none of them are as important as getting her right. So Dance Hall Babe will tentatively be scheduled for a schooling event on Thursday. Delcrest Star Angel, if you watch the qualifying report I did for you guys, Delcrest Star Angel schooled in 2-1 on Thursday and looked really, really good. Probably going to qualify her. I'd like to back her up and go mile 2-3, 2-2 with her on Thursday. She's been dropping down speed-wise for the past couple of weeks. Quite a jump, too. She went from 215, 215, 220, 213, 215 in the jog cart to 2.5 in the race bike, 29, 28 in a piece on the end of it, to 2.1. And Sylvain said she was a little tired, but maybe not ready to go there just yet. She's been there before, so I'm not really concerned. She ate her food, and that's always the biggest thing. How do they seem after they train? I keep telling you this again and again and again. Went down, talked to the grooms. How was Dance Hall Babe after a qualifier? Did she eat her supper? Did she eat her breakfast? Yes is all across the board. She was great. She ate the mash that they gave her at lunchtime, and then again, all her supper and breakfast was gone in the morning. So that was Delcrest Strategy. Ivanka was a little bit off left front when she went the other day. We went to school her again. It was still pinching her a bit. So I'm almost positive she has a little pus pocket coming left front. In fact, I'll even be more specific. The inside back quarter of her foot is where I believe it is. I could watch her jogging the other day. Thought that was the place that she seemed to be protecting the most. And
Daddy broke 4 arms.
I broke 4 arms, or I broke my forearm. I only got 2 arms. How'd I break 4 arms? I broke two bones in my wrist, actually. 2 bones in my wrist.
Why are they called forearms when they're only 2?
This is your forearm. It's not 4 arms, it's forearm. You're going to get a forearm with a cast in a second. Sit down, honey. Sit in your seat. So, where was that? Ivanka will be fine. It doesn't look serious to me. Now, if we put that razor pad on her and we can't get something to pop out of that heel, well, then we have to investigate a little further. But I know she jogged today, and they said she jogged better. So we'll see. Not an angel, just a couple of weeks behind. She was in 2.5 last week. Then she also got a little cast or kicked the wall, blew up her leg a little bit. Nothing serious. By all accounts, it came right down. She's probably, again, ready to train Monday or Tuesday. Probably train same as Dance Hall Babe, and school the same day as Dance Hall Babe also. Is this thing blurry, or... Well, maybe not. Stonebridge Simba raced well the other night. Trotted his last half in 57, last quarter in 28 and a piece. On the right line. We're going to add a little bit of gear to him. Cheers if you want it. We're going to add a little bit of gear to him this week and see if we can't straighten him out. I'm sure there won't be a problem there. Trotted a good mile. Need to be up in the action. James said he was on the right line pretty good in the last turn, and that's why he kind of fell off the action. So we'll get... Just keep that, honey. So we'll get that straightened away. And Stonebridge Loyal, I don't know, it was a mile and a 16th race, and Scott Young missed the gate by a 16th of a mile, so I guess she went a mile and an 1/8. But finished up really strong. I was happy with her. Again, kind of one of our clients that races some horses in London was asking about buying her potentially today. Might not be a bad move for both of us. She's a nice filly. She wants to do her work. She raced well last night. And going to a good home. So that's something we'll talk about over the weekend. And then, and that's it for Jason's Burn. That's it for Jason's Burn. And we'll be back in a second with Harry and Kevin's. Got a few little updates. Maintenance Man made a move this week. He's gone to Carmen Osceola. And then Boston Glide and Lima Sun. They're just swimming, getting ready for the sale on the 14th. So we'll be back in just a second to talk about Harry and Kevin's Burn. Well, we get through Jason's Burn. It's a cold day here in Campbellville. You know, we're watching the horses train and the horses jog, and I think my pain meds are running out. It's not the greatest day. You know, it's cold, which makes it so much worse. It's like it's not like it is +1 right now. 1st of May and it's +1. Isn't that brutal? So I'm about to watch Miss Mischief Maker and Yours If You Want It and Harness AM train. Yours If You Want It's been acting so bad. We put some gear on him today, and I told him if he was going to act up, just to TQ him for a week or so until he learns to wear it and he's comfortable with it on. He can't be going to the track and bouncing around like a fool. But very, very fast horse. Well, I'll tell you this. Our fastest trotter to date after his bad mile the other day was Yours If You Want It. So take that for what it is. It's a pain in the butt, isn't it? Anyway, what are we at now? Harry's Burn. We're going through Harry's Burn, obviously. Harry's Burn was bit with bad misfortune bug this week, obviously, with what happened to me. was obviously what happened to Harry, and I've been talking to our clients and talking to you guys. Sunshine's fine, it's not out of the woods. It may have been conveyed briefly from a vet at the university to Amy to Kelly that things were okay. Just 1 second. You heading out?
I'm gonna watch Need Your Opinion, and then she wants to go get some lunch and go to
No
way
problem.
back.
No problem. All right.
But I will be here until Tuesday morning.
No problem. All right.
Okay,
Take care.
thanks.
It's one of our clients, Sherry Collison's here from Pennsylvania, I believe. So cold. I felt so bad for her. So yeah, Sunshine's Finest has a chip off his cannon bone. If they can control the infection, and as of, it's been 72 hours, I think, Thursday, Friday, no, it's been 48 hours. They believe, they have somewhat, I believe anyway, from reading between the lines, that they believe he's in the right direction. He's going in the right direction. If any infection ended up in his joint or his bone, I'm sad to say he would be done, which would be a huge loss. Much like Yusuf and the other things that have taken place, a huge loss to this burn, a huge loss to me, my family, and a huge loss to our clients. But he does look like he's coming around. He looks like, now it's been 48 hours, and the horse looks like there isn't infection in there yet. She said he's walking on it. Good. After 10 days, then we have to discuss the chip off of his cannon bone. There's no point talking about that now. There's a chip off his cannon bone, and horses have recovered from such things, but we'd have to talk about it. So, obviously prayers, for the people that are wasting their time praying for me. I'm fine. I'll heal. Maybe divert any of your extra prayers to Sunshine's Finest. So we'll run through Harry's burn now. We'll start with Casanova's Jewel. Casanova's Jewel trained well. He went to warm up the other day to come over to the schoolers, but his ride over to the schoolers was Sunshine's Finest ride to the hospital. So Cass didn't get to come over and school. He'll school on Monday. Just saw him in the burn a minute ago, and he looks great. Final answer, he's training good, trained today. Harry said he looked really, really good, and he's looked really good. So, again, he's not going to be ready till first part of June, middle of June, maybe. Just getting a mile here for yours if you want it, Harness AM. Who else? That's final answer. He's doing good, just a tad. What are we going to do, Greg? What are we going to do now with just a tad? I can't drive him. And he can't race at Mohawk because Timo Houdini, there's like 3 horses of ours, Simba and our Vika all fit that class. It didn't fill on Monday, so now what are we going to do? That's frustrating. So I guess I'll try and talk James into going to drive in London or something, but if I'm James, I'm not going. So we'll see. We'll see if he can race at Flamborough or London or where he can race, but he's going to need, we had committed to giving him a week off. So next Saturday at London, or next Friday at London, or Saturday at Flamborough. As I say it out loud, I don't think he can do either, James. Maybe if they get him in the first race at Flamborough, he can go race there and come over. Maybe I can talk him into that. We'll see. Lincoln James, going to take him up and get him checked out by the veterinarian this week, and then if we get the green light, probably put a couple more little dots on that lag, and then he'll be heading to Illinois soon enough. Harry's been jogging him every day. I saw him jog today, and he looked very sound. 1:19. So that's Lincoln James. Maxwell Plum. Maxwell Plum is heading to the sale. Got that qualifier in 2-4 out of the way. Now we'll be getting him underway. Sunshine's Finest, obviously terrible news there. Hopefully it doesn't turn into some really bad news. Hopefully it's just a setback. Either way, I know everybody said, hey, it's not your fault, and at least you're okay. It's not really true. I feel terrible about what happened with that horse, and it's true. There's nothing I could have done more than I did, but certainly doesn't sit any better with me knowing that now, does it? This was obviously our biggest hope on the pacing side, definitely in Ontario for 2019, and a real loss to all of us here at the stable so far. Sunshine Inn, she's going to start another week or so. We're going to start her on Lasix. Sorry, I'm just watching this horse's train. Sunshine Inn has been good. Obviously, that little second place finish with a little weakness on the end of it got us to scope her one more time. We did find blood this time. Found a little blood, little mucus. So we put her on Lasix, 231. We put her on Lasix, and she'll race her next start, maybe back in London. I know somebody said, oh, can we race her in the SBOA? No, I'm not racing her where she's going to get run over. I want some confidence in this filly. You know, I've always worked with the hypothesis that maybe she was just acting up. You know, maybe she was just being sour. That's why she wasn't finishing upper mile. But maybe it was the blood all along. You know, you scope them 30 minutes after the race and there's a tiny speck of blood. It's not a big deal, right? But it comes from the lung. So you don't know how much that affects a horse. It didn't affect Arvika until it really affected Arvika. And look at the difference in her on Lasix. So those of you out there joining in the recent Lasix arguments in North America, I can assure you the vote from TheStable.ca and especially Anthony McDonald and all our trainers would be that Lasix is a very important part of horse racing. And the people making the arguments out there, for the most part that I know of, aren't trainers. They're just people that are looking at the industry from a different lens and are deciding what they believe is the best. And I really don't believe those people should have a vote. This is a stakeholder issue in the industry, one that should be talked about and talked over, mulled over, and dealt with by stakeholders. And my vote is definitely Lasix should stay exactly the way it is, at least in standardbred racing. And I don't think you see the abuse, and I use that word very lightly. I don't think you see the abuse in standardbred racing that you might see in thoroughbred racing. And I don't know enough about thoroughbred racing to even use that word, so it's not fair for me to say that. But if I know the percentages of first-time starters on Lasix, I know the percentages of horses on Lasix, and maybe all we need to do is make it a little more hard to get on Lasix. The horses we put on Lasix show blood. They've bled, and they need to be on Lasix. So maybe it's just a matter of how we go about putting them on it. It used to be that you had to scope them. You had to have a report from the vet. The vet had to vouch for this Lasix being on. Now, you don't need that. I can put the horse on Lasix. Just have the vet look at the horse.
Yours if you want it.
Yeah, look better.
He looks really good.
Yeah, well, he's got some gear on him today.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Take care. So anyway, it's a non-starter for me. Lasix, when used in the proper way, is an absolutely great tool. For those of you out there saying they don't use it in Europe, yes, but horses bleed in Europe. That's why a lot of them end up here. So, different culture, different way of racing. There's nothing wrong with having two forms of racing. The way they do it in Europe and the way they have it here. Import and export. We just sold Lawmaker because he isn't on Lasix. He doesn't wear trot and hobbles and he's a stud. He went to Sweden, where there's lots of Australian and New Zealand horses that end up here in North America also because they need Lasix. So, the Butler did it. The Butler did it. I would say he would almost have to break the track record tonight. I know Ken doesn't want to hear that. Ken's a very good friend of ours. Great client. He owns a Butler. And Ken had made reference to me giving up on the Butler the other day. I'm not forced into any position where I give up on anybody. But if you're going to not want to race, I'm not going to provide you a platform to do so. And the Butler did it has proven multiple times now that he just doesn't want to. This is a horse that, now keep in mind, this is a horse we had slated to have back to the races in almost October. And I took my time because Harry believed in him and thought he needed more time. And we gave it to him. And it's just racing. It's not that I was horribly let down. I was a little let down, but at the same time, that's racing. It's not the end of the world, but the Butler did it. Does not want to put forth any effort as a racehorse. So why are we in a big hurry to allow him to? Next we have Utopian. Utopian trained good this week. I thought he trained well when I went with him Thursday morning, so right before I get injured. I trained him here in 2:13, last half in 3, and I thought the horse looked great. Warwee Ultra, that was my fault. I'm sorry. I should have protected her down by the wire. It's just I never thought she'd run there. She was trotting a quarter in 28 seconds. Probably if she doesn't run 27 and 4 and look really good doing it. Miss Philly's really come a long way in the last few weeks, and I was really impressed with her even the other day. That's my fault. I should have guarded her under the wire, and I didn't. And probably the SBOA, I guess, will be the first start for watching Enduring Strength train. And Zeb Sunshine. Enduring Strength looks great. Zeb looks good too. So Warby Ultra will either qualify her back, or if need be, we'll qualify her once, or we'll race her in the SBOA straight out of a schooler. But we'll talk about that this week. And then, of course, I went out of my way to make the reference to White Tiger and how well he schooled this week. 2-1 last quarter and 26 and 2. James hasn't stopped talking about him. So I talked to Andrew this morning. He will be going to Andrew. And probably James will be going to drive him. I can't imagine that he will forego the drive on White Tiger. We'll drop down here to some of the babies. I think I had one on Utopian was up there. Capistrano trained great today. I saw her. She looked really good. Giddy Up Max looked really, really good. Also, he's on the right line a little bit, but where's the other horse? There. On the right line a little bit, but we can fix that with a little gear next week. So Giddy Up Max was pretty good, and then I just talked about Utopian. He trained good on Thursday. So sorry about jumping around here back and forth with stories, but that's Harry's Barn. A lot went on this week, some good, some bad. A lot going on in the very near future. Be back in a minute with Kevin's Barn, and then we'll talk about the babies. We're back now with Kevin's Barn. I'm just watching horses train here. It's odd. So we'll run through Kevin's Barn quick. A lot of transition going on over the next 2 weeks. We have horses that will be going to the sale. We have the open house. And those horses, those 2-year-olds that are potentially heading to the sale, they will go on open house day. Right up until the point we make the decision for them to go to the sale. Sherry was questioning me today on who's in the sale, and we entered 21 horses in the sale. I got the email from the sales company today. Now some of those horses, Art Seeker, we've already sold. 2 or 3 of them we've already sold. A few of them won't be going to the sale, but I would say the better part of 15 will be going to the sale. So we'll make those decisions as the day goes on. Don't worry about them being too tight. Well, tighter than looser. And James just going with Johan. Anyway, let's run through Kevin's Barn real quick. Be My Delight. Be My Delight raced a little flat last night. You know, I'd said to Kevin last week, I said, you know, she's tough, but that toughness is like a gas tank, right? It runs out. And I hoped as we got her racing, we could chip away at those secondary issues, as I thought we had a handle on what I would call issues. But they're playing a role, aren't they? And Colin was a little conservative with her last night. Whatever, I can't really blame him for that. But I think we'll give her a week off, race her back next week, and then like the following week, and then she'll probably head to the sale. You know, the shitty part about that is I don't think we'll get a lot of money for Be My Delight. She's a small filly, well bred, so you have that angle. Plus, she does show a mile in 56. So we have that angle also. Who knows? Might get paid really well for, I don't know. Better Call Mike, another horse who's slated to go to the sale. I had a long conversation via email with Margot the other night. I brought Margot up a couple of times. Margot is our quintessential owner. Very nice lady. A couple of shares and a couple of horses here and there. But falls in love with them, as a lot of us do. And Mike's a likable horse. But as I said to Margot, Mike's going to have pace 55, 56 to be a viable horse to race in Ontario all summer, and I just don't see that happening. I think Mike will make a nice horse for somebody maybe in Buffalo or Batavia or maybe Clinton if somebody wants to race him. Who knows? But for us here at the stable, I don't really see a whole lot of avenues for Better Call Mike just yet. But he's got 2 weeks, so we'll see what happens over the next 2 weeks. Buckingham, here's a filly the opposite. She's got a lot of avenues. I wasn't happy with her mile the other night, but Kevin was right. The only time she'd ever been taken off the gate like that before she finished up the track too. One, she doesn't like to be not in the action. Two, it's muddy, pouring rain, just not a nice night all around. So, just not a nice night all around. So, he thought that Buckingham just didn't put out. And he might be right. Can't really say he's not. So we'll give her a pass. We'll wait for next week. Wherever Kevin decides to race her, I'll tell James, put her in the hunt, see how she feels. And if we're not happy with how she races, I know one class she can pound on, and that would be the class where she belongs, and that's a class below where Book the Bet was. A nice little spot for her where she can do some damage. No concerns with Buckingham. She's got to put some weight on, got to get her racing. I like this filly, and I think she's going to do great things for us over the winter. Maybe not set any track records or, buy anybody a new home, but at the same time, win some races and get some pictures and do some good for us. I didn't want to lose Book the Bet. I thought she was doing great for us in that class, but it is a claimer, and once in a while they do claim them out of there, and Buckingham would be a good fit there also. Cruising with Angus is jogging now. I'll probably start training him in another month or so, I guess. Just put lots of miles into him. Before we ever go and scoot him along and train him again, we're going to want the vets to re-ultrasound, re-scan that to make sure it's okay, but it does look very, very good right now. Cruising in style, schooled in 159. Scope a little bit of mucus and pimples in his throat. A little flat the other day. Probably have Sylvain maybe go with him again this week. Obviously, I was in the hospital. I didn't get a chance to see him go. I was supposed to go with him, but I did talk to Sylvain later on and got an update on him. Hard 8 looks like Ryan Guy, like we had Ryan Guy drive her to the 10 hole the other night. And by all accounts, last half 55 and a piece, last quarter in 28 seconds. I'm very happy with Hard 8. You should be also. Holding Steady, he's destined for the sale. Big gray horse. I'd like to get one good mile into him again. I see he wasn't in last night. Imagine he'll race him next week. And then he'll be heading to the sale. Master Saver's in Wednesday. Don't think I can make it. I won't be healed up in time for Wednesday. So Master Saver, good news is Master Saver's racing good and feeling good. So I expect him to race good again. Road Tripper, flat line luck last night and looked good, but a flat under the wire. And they scoped him after. Again, this foolish weather. He's just not full of mucus, but he had some mucus. Probably, and plus he was off 2 weeks. So see if we can clean him up for next week. Time Al Houdini, destined to make his first start of the year next Thursday. For those of you concerned where he was, we entered him in the Lazex program, and we had to wait the 16 days to put him on it. So, Time Al Houdini will race next Thursday. Time Al Tulo, a bit flat, wasn't he? A little bit flat. We got to work on that. But I'm sure he will. Like, he had that quarter in 27 seconds in the qualifier. Then I raced him. I thought he was okay. He scoped a little redness and a few specks of blood in his throat. Kevin raced him the other night. Similar kind of mile. So I think he's on a tipping point where we got to make a few little changes. But no concerns yet for Time Al Tulo. Don't believe me, just watch. I watched him train in 231 today. He looked really, really good. Now, over the next week, I'm going to be transitioning Marzank Hanover. Want to watch Harry get mad? Watch this. You want to watch Marzank Hanover go down to Kevin's barn? I think should be a great fit for him. Hey, Harry, who's that? Oh. Marzank Hanover, is going to go down to Kevin's barn at some point. Need Your Opinion, I believe, will also go down. She looks so good again training today. I'm so happy that this filly is looking good. She's just a sweetheart, and I really hope she races well this summer. Watch Av will be. I gotta call Cindy and ask her to go pick up Watch Av and Bottle of Red from the Turnout Farm. Watch Av's going to be heading down to Kevin's barn too. No particular reason. Everybody said, well, is there a problem? What? Danny's doing a great job, but one of Danny's workers is leaving, and another one of Kevin's, we sold like 3 or 4 Kevin's horses. Luckily, that caretaker had left for a week to go on vacation. When he comes back, I'm going to move some of these horses down. Watch Ev. Now, I had Time Al Kazam on this list. Mario had asked me not to move him down yet. One of Mario's will be going down to Kevin's also. I just haven't figured out who yet. Just getting ready to watch Johan and Libero Hanover train here. Both of them look really, really good. So, that's Kevin's barn. I'm going to run back. I'm going to run through the babies real quick with everybody. Not a whole lot going on today. Today's like a Wednesday, right? So, you got to see everybody on Wednesday train real good. The ones that didn't train super on Wednesday, I can tell you train good on Thursday because I went with them. And, as I said, we'll be back in a minute. We'll run through all of the babies in just a minute. Take care.